What is up? This is your LA in a minute and some huge news for media here in Los Angeles as it was announced yesterday that the LA Times plans to become a publicly traded company. Now, this is personal for me because I'm both a lifetime print subscriber and an outspoken vocal critic as I've seen the shortcomings in coverage and the increase in bias over the last decade. And I know the LA Times is currently polarizing, but it's important to remember that any newspaper, especially this newspaper, is a historical record of our time and place right here in this city that we love. Now, with the move, the owner, Patrick Soon-Shiong, hopes that the LA Times can once again be the voice of all of us here in Los Angeles. Let's get into it. Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong, a UCLA-trained doctor who specialized in pancreas transplants and pioneering diabetes-related transplant procedures, made a fortune running his own companies through his significant medical innovations, including cancer drugs. And in 2018, he spent nearly $500 million of his fortune on purchasing the LA Times. Now, the LA Times really is the historical record of Los Angeles. It was first published on December 4th, 1881 as the hardscrabble Los Angeles Daily Times when the population of Los Angeles was only 11,000 people. Soon, however, the paper was taken over by Harrison Gray Otis, who remade the paper and the city using his bully pulpit to drive legislation, infrastructure, and narrative. In the 1960s, under the leadership of Otis Chandler, the paper began its era of elite journalism, winning more Pulitzers in that decade than in its entire previous history. And by the 1990s, it was a bona fide powerhouse, a fixture throughout the city, with a higher circulation of any daily newspaper and publishing more advertising than any newspaper in the world for 25 consecutive years. Soon, though, the paper was sold to Tribune Publishing, who was eventually renamed Tronc, and coupled with competition from new media, the bottom started to fall out for the paper, sparking Soon-Shiong's interest. At the time, Soon-Shiong called it a deeply personal decision, saying that as somebody who grew up in apartheid South Africa, I understand the role that journalism needs to play in a free society. Under Soon-Shiong's stewardship, however, the once revered paper has undergone turmoil, including massive layoffs, the resignation of highly respected executive editor Kevin Merida, as well as the resignation of the editorial board's editor, Mariel Garza, after Soon-Shiong personally intervened to block the editorial board's planned endorsements during the 2024 presidential primary and general elections. This led to significant staff upheaval, followed by more layoffs, all while seeing subscriptions and revenue plummet. And just yesterday, Soon-Shiong told Jon Stewart on a taped interview for The Daily Show that a public offering would happen over the next year. Now, the move would allow the LA Times to quote-unquote be democratized and allow the public to have ownership of this paper that is indeed a Los Angeles institution. Soon-Shiong went on to say that whether you're right, left, Democrat, Republican, you're an American. So the opportunity for us to provide a paper that is the voices of the people, truly the voices of the people, is important. Now, according to Claire Harder's article in today's LA Times, there are no exact details as to how this would work, but the LA Times is working through that with an organization that's putting this together right now. Soon-Shiong went on to say that ethics get cloudy if the truth is not told. An apt quote from people who believe that maybe the LA Times has been pushing their own version of truth over the last decade and under Soon-Shiong's ownership. So now, this may be the time for the public to take back the Los Angeles Times and make it the historical record of our city that we deserve. All right, LA, it's been a minute.